In this lecture, we're going to talk about precedence and associativity of operators. Precedence of operators come into picture when in an expression we need to decide which operator will be evaluated first. Suppose you have multiple operators in an expression, then which operator will be evaluated first is decided by the precedence. Operator with higher precedence will be evaluated first, and this is so obvious. Like for example, we have this expression in which we have a plus operator and we have a multiplication operator. Maybe this particular operator will be evaluated first, and then it will produce the answer as 17 because 5 3s are 15 and 15 plus 2 is 17. Or maybe it is possible that this particular operator will be evaluated first and it will result the value 25. 2 plus 3, which is equals to 5. 5 into 5 is equals to 25, right? Now which one is correct? Precedence of multiplication is greater than the addition. Please note down, precedence of multiplication is greater than the addition. Therefore, this one is correct and this one is not correct. Because precedence of multiplication is greater, therefore 3 into 5 will be evaluated first and then after the addition will be performed. Therefore the final output is 17 and not 25. Okay. Now what is associativity of operators? Associativity of operators come into picture when precedence of operators are same. Please note down, when precedence of operators are same, then only associativity came into picture. And we need to decide which operator will be evaluated first. Of course, this whole thing will be done for the purpose that which operator will be evaluated first. Let's consider one example. Here in this example, you will find out two operators, divide and multiply, in a same expression. The obvious question is, which one will be evaluated first? Associativity can be either left to right or right to left. These are the only two possibilities. If the associativity is left to right, then division will be performed first and then multiplication, because we are going from left to right, and division will be performed first and multiplication will be performed next. Let me tell you one important point, that division and multiplication both are having the same precedence. Therefore, the associativity came into picture. And here we need to decide the order of evaluation with the help of associativity and not by precedence. If we are thinking about the associativity is going from left to right, then division will be performed first and then the multiplication. Therefore, the final output is 25 because 10 divided by 2 is equals to 5 and 5 into 5 equals to 25. If associativity is from right to left, then multiplication will be performed first and then division. 2 into 5 is 10 and 10 divided by 10 equals to 1, right? Now which one is correct? Let me tell you one thing. Division will be performed first and then multiplication because these two operators are having the same precedence and their associativity is actually from left to right and not from right to left. Therefore, this one is correct and this one is not correct. Okay? Now let's consider the precedence and associativity table. In this particular table, you will find out different kinds of operators mentioned. Apart from that, their associativities are also mentioned. The topmost set of operators are having the highest precedence among all the operators, and the bottommost is having the least precedence. First of all, we are going to talk about these operators. These are parentheses, these are brackets, then we have some member access operators, and then we have postfix increment and decrement operators. Let's talk about all these operators one by one. Parenthesis is used in function calls, right? Suppose for example, we have a variable and to this variable, we are trying to assign the value returned by this function. But my question is, how compiler would be able to know that this particular operand is a function and not a variable? It can be a variable as well. Why it is a function and not a variable? Assignment operator is also fighting for this operand, that this particular operand belongs to me, and these parentheses also fighting for this particular operand, that this particular operand belongs to me. Now who wins the battle? Assignment operator is having less precedence as compared to parenthesis. Please note down, it is having less precedence. Therefore, parenthesis belongs to fun and fun will be treated as a function. Therefore, we can say that after precedence, it looks like this. Int var equals to fun. This fun is an operand, of course, but it is a function and not a variable. Because parenthesis is having greater precedence than assignment operator, therefore this will be evaluated first and then the assignment is being performed. I used parenthesis to make this point clear that this particular operand is not a variable, it is a function. And because of the precedence of this particular operator is greater than the assignment operator, therefore this operand belongs to this particular operator and not this operator. If suppose assignment operator is having greater precedence, then fun will belong to assignment operator and therefore it will be treated as a variable and not a function. Then in that case, this particular statement looks like this. Because assignment operator is having greater precedence, therefore it will be evaluated first and then after the parenthesis will get evaluated. Therefore this fun is treated as a variable and not a function. That is why precedence and associativity is important, because we need to know what would be the order of evaluation. Now let's try to understand member access operators. These two are member access operators. They are used to access members of structures. Please note down this point. We will talk about structures later in this course. Therefore, there is no point of concentrating on these operators right now. Then we have postfix increment and decrement operators, plus plus and minus minus. If you remember that, immediately after these member access operators, we have postfix, increment and decrement operators. One important point that we need to know related to these postfix, increment and decrement operators is that precedence of postfix, increment or decrement operator is greater than prefix, increment or decrement operator. You will find out in the precedence table that prefix, increment or decrement operator will immediately appear after postfix, increment, decrement operator. Therefore, postfix, increment or decrement operator is having greater precedence than prefix, increment or decrement operator. Apart from that, associativity of postfix is also different from prefix. This is also very important point. Associativity of postfix operators is from left to right and that of prefix operators is from right to left. Here in this table, these are the postfix operators and these are prefix operators. Because they appear first in the table, therefore they are having the greater precedence and this one is having the less precedence. Apart from that, associativity of postfix operators is from left to right and associativity of prefix operators is from right to left. Okay? Apart from that, then we have logical NOT operator, which we are well aware of. Then we have bitwise negation operator. Then of course prefix, increment or decrement operators. Then we have unary plus and unary minus operator. These operators might confuse you. They are unary operators and not binary operators. We can say that they are signs like plus 34, minus 36, like that. Star and ampersand, as I already told you, that we are going to cover these operators in pointers. This particular operator is used for typecasting, which we will discuss later on. And size of operator we already discussed a lot. Apart from that, we have multiplicative operators list, which consist of multiplication, division and modulus. All of them are having precedence from left to right. Apart from that, we are having additive operators like plus and minus. They are also having associativity from left to right. Then we have bitwise operators, relational operators, equality operators, bitwise and bitwise XOR, bitwise OR, bitwise AND, logical OR. Then we have a conditional operator. Associativity for conditional operator is right to left. If you find out many conditional operators in an expression, then associativity for those conditional operators would be from right to left and not from left to right. Please remember this point. Apart from that, we have assignment operators, and we already know one important point about assignment operators is that their associativity is from right to left. Then final operator in this list of precedence and associativity of operators is comma operator. Associativity for comma operator is from left to right. Now the one most important point we need to know is that conditional and assignment operators are having associativity from right to left and not from left to right. Apart from that, unary operators are also having associativity from right to left, and all the rest of the operators are having associativity from left to right. Let's discuss some important facts related to these operators. First of all, associativity can only help if there are two or more operators of same precedence and not when there is just one operator. This is very important point. Associativity can only help you if there are at least two operators of same precedence and not when there is just one operator. In this particular example, we can easily see that we are calling two functions fun1 and fun2, and whatever the value they will return, finally we add them using this addition operator, and the result of this addition will get stored inside this particular variable called a. And then we simply print this variable, right? Here in this function we are first trying to print naso and then we return value 1 at this place. Here in this function we are trying to print academy and then we return 1 to this particular place. 1 plus 1 equals 2 and the output of this printf function is 2. But my question is, which function will be called first? Is it fun1 or is it fun2? Most of us will give the answer as fun1 will be called first and then fun2 because fun1 appear first in this expression. But this is not correct. So which function is called first? Is it fun1 or is it fun2? Now let me give you the answer. It is not defined whether fun1 will be called first or whether fun2 will be called. Behavior is undefined and output is compiler dependent. You cannot say that fun1 will be called first and then after fun2 will be called, because fun1 appears first in this particular expression, therefore it will be called first and then after fun2 will be called. It is not the case that always fun1 will be called first. It might be the possibility that some compilers will call fun2 first and then fun1. It is simply not defined. We cannot say anything about it. First of all, there is no precedence issue here because we just have one operator. Here, of course, between this addition operator and assignment operator, addition operator is having greater precedence, therefore it will be evaluated first. But my question is, which function will be called first? The output is compiler dependent. Please note down, associativity will not come into picture as we just have one operator and which function will be called first is undefined. Associativity will only work when we have more than one operators of same precedence. Now what is the output of this particular program? Is it naso academy 2 or is it academy naso 2? If fun1 will be called first, then first naso will be printed and then after 1 is returned, and then after fun2 will be called and academy will get printed and it will return value 1 to this particular place. 1 plus 1 is equals to 2, which will get printed after printing naso academy, right? So output can be naso academy 2, but if fun2 will be called first, then the output would be academy naso 2, right? So what is the output? We simply don't know. Now let's consider one more important fact. Operators with same precedence have same associativity as well. Here in this table, we can see that these all operators are having same precedence, right? Although they are having the highest precedence among all the other operators in this list, but the operators which are available in this particular block are all having the same precedence, and their associativity is also same, like left to right. Suppose we find out this operator as well as this operator within an expression, then of course the associativity would be same, left to right. It doesn't make sense that this particular operator is having left to right associativity and this one is having right to left associativity. Similarly, all these operators are having same precedence, therefore their associativity would be also same, that is from right to left. And similarly, this concept is applicable to all the other operators as well. Now let's consider one homework problem. What is the output of the following C program fragment? Is it true or is it false? You can always post your answers in the comment section below. Okay friends, this is it for now. Thank you for watching this lecture.